Welcome back to the Not Carrie Bradshaw YouTube channel. In this video, I'm discussing the most cringe episode of Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 6, Episode 13. This was a really hard episode to get through. I don't know if y'all struggled the way I struggled. I had to reach out to a friend. A friend had to reach out to me first, like, girl, are you seeing this? I have a really hard time with secondhand embarrassment, and this had my anxiety for secondhand embarrassment just through the roof. So let's get right into the mess. Before we do that, take a minute, hit the subscribe button. I trust that you did it. I trust in you. You trust in me. This is a safe space. Okay, now let's get into the mess. So the ladies are gearing up for Wendy's trip. This is a Wendy hosted, Wendy sponsored. How much of the ladies' own money do they have to put into the trips that they host? I'm always a little bit curious about that. I'm going to ask some of my insider friends about that. Slide in the comments. Let me know if you want the tea on that, a little behind the scenes. So Wendy is going to host the ladies at the Eastern Shore, the East Shore. I didn't know this was a thing. I thought it was super cute. It looks like a really fun place to do cottagecore or something. I want to go. And we start off with Mia and Gordon talking about, you know, this is their first trip since the pandemic, and, you know, Mia's usually working, he's with the kids. He really wants to take a trip more so, the two of them, than with a group. Now, I kind of feel him on that because I am not a huge fan of large group trips, having suffered some PTSD from, you know, bachelorette trips. Chat, another conversation for another day. What we come to know later, though, is just that G be out you. He be out you in these streets wilding. That's why he don't really want to go on a trip with these ladies. We also take a moment to sit down with Candace and Chris. They're discussing her music career, her desires for her contract. Do y'all take Candace seriously as an artist? I'm not going to say that Candace can't sing. I think that she has enough to do a little yang, yang, yang around the house. I don't think what I'm seeing from her music career thus far, that she is talented enough or that her music is good enough thus far for me to overlook how awful she is on this show, right? We'll get to that later. We also visit with Robin and Ashley. Ashley stops by Robin's place, you know, to have a little charcuterie and to catch up a bit. Robin is hell-bent on feeling like she's a victim of Wendy, and, you know, I just don't feel comfortable around her. I can't say anything. Robin, you don't want to be around Wendy because you want the freedom to be able to bully Wendy without Wendy fighting back. You want her to just bend over and take it, really, and she doesn't owe you that. And the constant lack of self-awareness from Robin and Giselle sends me. So we find out that on their group text, Robin and Giselle, of course, because they come as a package and Robin is incapable of independent thought, save for, you know, the previous episode where she admonished Giselle to let women have access to a working bathroom. Okay. So Wendy sent a group text about the trip. Robin and Giselle responded she, you know, didn't feel good about the invitation, so she doesn't think that she, you know, she won't be going, and she feels like she was really gracious in this. My thing with that is Robin and Giselle have such high standards for how they should be treated, but they just don't give anything. They're not gracious in anything, and I can't understand the cognitive dissonance between, like, as an adult person, you don't see how you act versus how this person act. I will say that I was happy to see Giselle getting her hair done for realsies on camera. It's not the first time we've seen it, but I'm always happy when we can actually see the ladies really getting their hair done. It has always annoyed me a little bit when the hairstylists will come in and just like bump their wig at the ends or something, or like curl their weave at the ends. What salon you going to where they style dirty hair? I don't like that. Anyway, and the thing too, Robin, do you maybe not want to go because it's a couples trip and one don't be outside like that? Giselle, do you maybe not want to go because you ain't got no man? And that's not even a dig. Me neither. I feel you. I'm not going on a couples trip. Y'all have fun. Enjoy. But to say that, she just wasn't happy like with the invitation. Sweetie, you had people come to an active construction site. Okay. Because you're so prim and proper. Sure, honey. Anyway. Did y'all see that flashback scene where Chris and Candace had dinner with Escala and her husband? Did y'all see Candace's hair? Girl, what was that? It must have been really humid that day. Okay. Scrolling my notes. So we finally get to the house. Again, this house is so lovely. I have a question though. Why are people so against carrying their own bags? Am I just a poor and I don't know anything? Like, I understand the concept of valet service, but from watching Downton Abbey, people have a valet. I understand what it is intellectually, but if I arrive somewhere, and there's no bellhop, like it isn't a hotel, I just assume I or my partner will carry our own bags and lay out our own stuff. And I think that if and when I become a very wealthy person, because y'all are going to support me and become patrons of this platform, link in description, I don't even know if I would be comfortable even asking someone to unpack my bags and lay my stuff out. It's such a personal thing that I would want to do myself. And while I recognize that when G and Mia pulled up, well, Gordon, I guess we're calling him G. I'm not sure. Well, you know what? For the purposes of this video and his behavior, we calling him G. I think that they were joking, but it also seems like they pulled up ready to shade. Oh, where's the valet? Well, I'm not carrying shit. Oh, okay. Well, y'all shit can stay outside too. So they start having drinks and it's going to be a good vibes only. Wendy is loosening up. And I can honestly say I'm happy to see Wendy a little bit more loose because last season she was so uptight. I'm comfortable with this version of Wendy. Not beginning of the season Wendy who was putting 10 on 2, but this version of Wendy I'm happy with. Let's stay here on this part of the spectrum. I also want to say I really love Eddie. I think that Eddie is he's a good man, Savannah, a good man. I really like him. I think that he's such a good example of just like a Black husband and father. Go Wendy, you lucked up there. Mia and Wendy have an intimate moment where Mia shares with Wendy what her history is with her mom and her upbringing and the substance abuse and foster care. And I'm happy that they have this moment of vulnerability. Y'all know I love vulnerability with boundaries. And I think, it's easy to kind of forget that Mia and Wendy had such a rocky start. And I think it's important for people to have some context, within reason. You shouldn't have to give everybody your life story in order for them to treat you like a decent human being. But I was really happy with this moment of intimacy, emotional intimacy between them, because that also helped for Wendy to understand why Candace's comment about Mia's mom wasn't really okay. And moreover, you shouldn't really need no explanation for that, no way, because we're adult women and adult women shouldn't be saying yo mama no way. Like, girl, grow up. Candace and Chris arrive. Shots are flowing. G is drunk. Like, he's feeling his beat. He is quite drunk. Candace is already judgy and stiff. She's just a prude to me. Candace is a prude. And I do not enjoy people who take themselves that seriously. And for me, I literally have like in my notes right here that the energy was so good without Robin and Giselle being there. And then Candace came and the whole vibe just like changed to just, she's just like this little just dark cloud with too much hair. G, I have no problem with you enjoying the strip club. I have no problem with, you and your wife enjoying the strip club together. I have been to the strip club, being from Atlanta. It's fun to go with people who got money. I don't have enough money to fund my own trip to the strip club, okay? But I will absolutely go and spend someone else's. Shouts out to my friends. You know who you are. I'm ready when you are. Next visit home. Anyway, I'm even the comment about the white women and the gestures, cringe, 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 cringe. What was also really interesting too was that Candace made a comment about G liking white women, and it's like, you standing here with your white husband. Make it make sense. G does this stunt with calling the car company, and he tells everybody, listen to this, listen to this. This is so, okay. This is when he really showed his age to me, because this is such a corny older guy with money trick to do that I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe he's acting like this right now. It was so immature. It was so new money. He wanted to publicize that he was getting a custom G-Wagon made for Mia, and he wanted to make a big scene of it. And everybody else was like, okay. And of course, Wendy, okay, custom G-Wagon. No, honey, it was just a bit much. And I swear it wasn't me, but somebody did text me that they did a deep dive on her Instagram and they did not see a custom G-Wagon. That don't mean she don't have one. But, what was this for? This was so tacky. I did not enjoy it. Don't do that no more. Then when he tried to bend over to pick up that cap, and when he told her, I don't get too many opportunities to tell you to shut the F up, I was embarrassed for both of them, but I started to wonder, is this their kink? Because Mia never, said, hey, let's get some water, let's get some coffee. She just seemed to be really cool with it. Like, she really seems to be unfazed with this version of her husband. I would be humiliated. We all have different standards of what works for us. I would be so humiliated. I can't stand sloppy drunk people. I have considered being a sober person just because I don't want to risk being a sloppy drunk person. Again, I have been, and I hate just the thought of it. I especially do not enjoy sloppy drunk men, and especially not one who I'm with. It is such just I don't want to see you in that way, in that capacity with, oh God, it's making my skin crawl to think about it right now. And then the even when we flash forward to next week's episode, like the tongue, and like he kept doing this thing, and I'm just like, oh my God, like please stop. I wanted to crawl out of my skin, but it's the fact that Mia doesn't have a problem with it. And the ladies go upstairs. Ascala and her husband get there. When Gordon was like, who the fuck is that? I was like, oh my God. And then of course, editing, the producer shade always gets me, where it's like, oh, I've heard so much about you, Ascala. Sure, honey. But then when G said to her husband, you a big motherfucker, I was like, oh my God, how embarrassing. Aww. So the ladies are upstairs chatting. I'm really frustrated that in the course of that conversation, Mia never got to say explicitly to Candace, my mom has suffered from addiction. We have a complicated relationship. This is why what you said wasn't okay. This is why what you said was triggering. Instead, we got really into the weeds instead of to the real root of the issue. And my thing is, maybe they were just drunk and just didn't get to it. But I was really frustrated with that, because it made me think about like when you watch sitcoms or movies where everything could be fixed if someone said just this one thing. I got that kind of energy, and that drives me insane, that like we could have really gotten somewhere here. A couple things. Candace seems to think that talking about Mia's mom is equal to Mia talking to her mom. Those things are not the same. I was really taken aback as well when Mia said that she wants to be like Miss Dot. And I was like, aim higher. Did you watch the show any season before you got here? Why do you want to be like this woman? Is this the kind of mother you want to be to your children? Now, I don't know if Mia was saying that from a business perspective, like she wants to be a provider in the way that Candace's mom has been? Or was she just drunk? Or was she just trying to save face? Like, what was that? And I felt like it was giving Candace more ammunition that Candace actually used quite poorly. And I don't get why Candace keeps addressing Mia's feet. Mia is a tall woman. She's not going to wear a size 6. Mia's feet are in proportion to her body. What a weird thing to zero in on. And then why does Candace keep calling Mia basic? Candace, what do you think you are? Nothing about you gives luxury. Nothing about you gives elevated. You come off quite ignorant. You don't seem fun. What about you isn't basic, I guess is my question, to where you feel like you can, she seems to think that that Mia is being classist or elitist, but it's like, what do you think that you're doing by constantly slut shaming her? And she keeps bringing up this thing of projection, and it's like the cognitive dissonance where you aren't seeing how you're projecting your anger and your frustration towards your mom, who started all this shit, onto this woman. When she said that Mia needs therapy, I wanted to throw my phone across the room and take a sledgehammer to my own TV, because I was like, I know you lying. I know you lying to me. Not homegirl who had PTSD and lied to her therapist about the role that she played in that situation. Not you trying to advocate for mental health. You need to be in therapy, and you need to actually tell your therapist the truth. Like, are you kidding me? That drove me up the wall. Ascala, I'm not quite sure that I understand the beef that Ascala has with Mia. I've been rooting for Ascala. I don't fully understand what happened there, because you don't want to be on Candace's side of anything. If you look up and you and Candace are both on the same side of an argument, consider that you might be wrong. Some may write about your thinking if you are in alignment with Candace. Total lack of self-awareness. What I did not like, I really didn't like Mia calling them broke bitches. Neither person is right, okay? Both of these people are wrong. The issue that I have is Candace's consistent lack of accountability, and the fact that her behavior continues to vindicate Monique Samuels. In the interim, Karen and Ashley get there. Ashley, why did you bring this Kinko's printout of your family? What was that? What was that for? What was that about? I didn't understand that. So the big blowout happens. You know, this fight just won't end. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I still don't even fully understand. I guess Candace is harping on, you had no business talking about my video. You had no business talking to my mom. You called my video low budget. It was low budget. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It was low budget. She didn't have to say that, but it was. I understand that you put a lot of money into it, or you know, of your own money into it, but you had to borrow other people's cars in order to fill. These are just facts. But the fact that she kept charging at Mia, kept coming at her, and it's like, you are so bold. You are such a tiny person to be trying to swell up on this big woman. And I guess what I keep wondering about, Candace, what's your end goal when you do this to people? When you yell in people's faces and you throw food at them and you call them names, what are you expecting to happen? Best case scenario. Do you think that you're going to yell them into submission? Because you absolutely aren't. You're not going to yell a person into submission. And the thing is, Mia consistently was walking away. Every dig that Candace tried to make at her, Mia was like, okay, and like, you're a child. Because she does behave like one. Candace behaves like a petulant child. And I just cannot understand how and why she has not been held accountable for this. Now, I had a very long conversation with one of my friends who's more of a pacifist than me. Now, from a moral perspective, Candace needs to be popped in the mouth. From a legal perspective, we're all too old to be fighting. I'm not going to advocate for people fighting for no good reason, you know, for something that's not self-defense, right? Candace was not raised the way that I and my friends were raised. By now, you would have known that there are some things that you just cannot say to people. There are some actions and gestures that you just cannot make to people without the expectation of getting popped in the mouth. Now, is there too much violence in our community, some of our communities? Absolutely. But what we don't do, we don't go around with this white woman energy that you can say anything to people, that you can gesture at people any kind of way, and there should be no repercussions for you. That's just not how myself and other Black people who I know, that's not how we operate. Candace really has a Karen mindset where she feels emboldened and entitled to say and do anything short of hitting a person, and she feels like she's allowed to do that. You don't get to navigate the world that way. It's not okay for white women to navigate the world that way. You really don't get to navigate the world that way, because you seem to be the only person who thinks that you shouldn't be held responsible for the way that you speak to people. So what I feel like is the same energy that some of y'all gave Monique about not putting your hands on somebody, give Candace that same energy about watching her mouth and her gestures. It's not appropriate to throw food at people. And I just want for everyone on this cast to sit down at a long table with construction paper, glitter glue, and markers and write, "I'm sorry, Monique" signs. Candace is the problem. From the blow up she had with the knife with Ashley at her house, the situation with you, if the same thing keeps happening to you, at some point it has to cross your mind that it is you. And I'm sorry, Mia didn't do enough. I don't know where Candace is getting this pimp storyline from. If anything, your dig should be he's her sugar daddy. Where are you getting it from that he's her pimp? And she's like, okay, where's the pimp? Yo ho is ready. You know, like Mia don't even care. You look so goofy giving this much energy. And to somebody who's really paying you dust. And Karen came over, and what I wanted Karen to say when she physically got in the middle, and she said, I'm not trying to get in the middle. What I wanted her to actually say is, look at yourself. This is what you did last time. I wanted her to try to snap Candace into reality that you're going back down the same road. She was trying to explain to her, like, you don't know her story. And everyone, you know, who's been made aware of Mia's background with her mom understands how Mia feels, but Mia isn't even the one who's turned up the most. It's just quite disgusting. It continues to be, yeah, like, I'm not saying Candace needs to be off the show, but are they going to have some sort of intervention with Candace about her behavior? I have not seen her held accountable for her mouth yet. And I'm tired of it. Like, tired. If Mia had emptied that tray, just dumped that tray and slapped her in the face with it, I would have been perfectly okay with it. At this point, I don't know how else Candace is going to get the message that you just can't talk to people however you want to talk to people. And even her, you know, asking Wendy, like, why are you worried about Mia? Like, why are you asking if she's okay? Wendy is the host of the trip. This is what an emotionally mature person does when they see someone being piled upon. Why don't you understand that? It's called empathy, you psycho. Candace is a monster. Her mom is a monster. She got it honest. Oh, before I forget, Wendy released her candle. Congrats, Wendy. I hope it goes well. Again, I continue to feel that the best way to divide up rooms, put names in a hat, and move on. I can't be stressed out like this about adult women fighting over rooms. That's all the notes that I have on this episode. It was mess. It was cringe between Candace and between G and between Mia not reeling G in, because I actually think that this is their kink. I was ready to crawl out of my skin. So we'll be back for next episode when, in fact, Giselle and Robin do come. I guess Bravo was like, you want this check or not? Giselle, you got to finish this house. You got to pay for this house. You can't be missing work. Girl, of course you coming on the trip. Shit. Anyway, Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, become a patron and send me some money, and take care of yourselves and be well. And don't behave like the people we were just talking about. Okay. Bye.